Your single Rap or Rock Superstar is a blast, man.
Thank you very much. I like that song a lot too. It embodies a lot of different things. It embodies hip hop, it embodies rock, and then the lyrics are, more or less like, what to look out for if you're trying to get into this business. It's not all easy.
How did your record company react? Because I mean, you even mentioned Sony in your song.
Oh, they liked it. They liked it. The president, Donnie Einer, liked it. I mean, everybody liked it. Time I told everybody, and they know that we've been around now for a while, and we know what we're talking about. You know what I mean? And I guess that line right there, so the record gets pushed by Sony. That line right there, and I guess woke them up some. You know what I mean? And they started like, really pushing for Cypress again, like they did, 91, 93, back in those days.
Do you have to watch your back constantly, like you guys say?
Well, when we say that in that song, we mean it as in terms of, when you're dealing with big time businesses like, record companies and stuff like that, and other artists as well. You do have to watch your back, because there's people that'll come in and act like they're your friends or whatever, but really they just want to get a piece of what you got, maybe launch off of them or whatever. So you definitely got to watch your back, because it's a business of where, you won't know where all your money's at. You don't know if a publishing company's holding your money or the record company's holding your money. You never know if they give you all the money that you deserve or that's right yours by the contracts or whatever. So by taking a hands-on approach to the thing, you know what I mean? I've been able to learn a lot about the business and basically, do what they were doing for us, I could do for myself, and as soon as, Latin Thug becomes a big label, when we grow up, we sell some records, I'm going to be looking to, sign other people myself, you know what I mean?
When I heard rumors about the record that it's going to be like half hip-hop, half rock, I was like, who came up with the idea and how on earth do you dare to do that?
Well, we had stood almost all of 99 in the studio recording, and we done a Spanish album, and then we done the whole English rap record, and we're sitting around like the record got pushed back. It was supposed to come out last Halloween, October 31st, and it didn't happen, so we just started thinking what to do next. We had turned down a tour, so we just started calling in our friends to see who wanted to, do some songs with us. So we called up Brad Wilk from Rage Against the Machine, and then we called Dino and Christian from Fear Factory. A couple of guys from my band SX10 came out, and we just had a good time. You know what I mean? And then we just started making songs. We did like maybe 13 or 14 songs, and we used like 6 or 7 of them. So there's a lot more left over in the vault somewhere if we ever needed to use it.
It's nothing new for you guys, right? I mean, even before the Judgment Night thing, you guys were experimenting with rock, right?
Yeah. I had done a song with Biohazard, and we had been out there doing some shows with a bunch of different people, getting exposed to the rock and roll scene, the whole audience and everything, and we liked it. They liked us, so we thought it'd be a good thing to do. We done it in '93 with the Judgment Night thing. And it was a little bit early for that. I mean, it was something cool to listen to, but I don't know if the world was yet ready for a full-time rock rap band, you know what I mean?
But now, I mean, if you talk to people, everybody refers to that album for being like groundbreaking and being like amazing.
Oh yeah, definitely, because you had some of the guys that are doing it now still, like Everlast and Cypress Hill, of course, you know what I mean? We were doing that back then, and who would have known that, 7 years later or something, that particular genre would blow up. So it feels good to have been part of that.
I still think this one, I mean, I bought this a long time ago. It's still one of my favorites ever.
Yeah. Well, that's a good one there, because we had a lot of time to work on that one. We started doing that album before we had a record deal. We were doing demos for it and everything. So when you get a chance like that to just stay and record for like 2 years, you really master what you're trying to do. You know what I mean? And then sometimes, with some groups like us, perhaps, it's hard to recapture that magic again, because you're not going to be at home no more. You're not going to be, doing what makes you comfortable. You're going to be out on the road. You're going to be, doing shows. You're going to be traveling here and there. So it's hard to get that again. So that's why last year, '99, we decided just fuck it, stay home and record all year long. and try to come up with some really good work again.
That's a very good idea. Most of the time you see like bands popping up, they have a really good record because they worked, 4 or 5 years on it. Then they have to produce the next one, the second one, and it's just not as good as the first one.
Not because they don't have the time. They don't have the time to put into it. And after some people taste success, people change. You know what I mean? And
How did it go for you guys?
huh?
How did that go for you guys? 'Cause, I mean,
Well,
you had huge success with this one, the first one.
yeah. Well, that one took a while to sell, but once it started selling, it just started moving and moving and moving, and for the whole process of it, when the record blew up and it sold over 1 million copies, it's at 2 million now. We really, really, really were surprised. We weren't expecting to sell that many records. We thought we'd sell 200,000 or 300,000 copies, to the hardcore hip hop heads. You know what I mean? We didn't think girls would like it either, and girls ended up loving Cypress Hill. So, it was quite a blast for us. And then we got off of a tour somewhere and got home and started to stretch out and unwind. And here comes the phone calls from the record company. We want the new record. We want the new record. So we went in and we kind of did like a hurry job on Black Sunday, but it still had like 3 records on it. Insane in the Brain, When the Shit Goes Down, and Ain't Going Out Like That.
Those were hurry jobs?
Yeah. Yeah, if we could have had more time on that album, it'd have been even better. You know what I mean? But it done well. It done 3 million copies. You know what I mean? And it was able to lift us to a national level. We started doing our own tours off of Behind the Black Sunday. We were the headlining band. So that was a special time for us, yeah.
So then you sell like 5 million records, and then the money comes in, and what happens then?
And then
You go crazy?
yeah, you lose focus a little bit. You know what I mean? You lose focus. You start, you start looking for a house. You start buying a house, and before you know, you got 3 or 4 cars and a bunch of friends that you didn't have before and shit like that. So it definitely changes you. You know what I mean? You got to go through that in order to come out the other end and be like, okay, well, I made all this money and I lost it all. Now I got another chance to make some more money. I'm gonna be more mature about it this time, and you just take it like that.
Where did you get the idea? Looking at the Beastie Boys or Russell Simmons?
Definitely, man. The cats that I look up to now put themselves out. Like Ice-T puts his own records out. Dr. Dre puts his own records out. Beastie Boys put themselves out. You know what I mean? And I was talking with Ice-T once, and he basically broke it down like this to me. He said, this game of the entertainment business is basically pimps and hoes. The record companies are the pimps and the entertainers are the hoes. You know what I mean? So why not just go ahead and pimp yourself? Instead of having somebody pimp you, you pimp yourself and make all that money yourself.
Because I kind of think, I imagine if you, so you, in total, you guys sold like more than 12 million records, right? That comes down to a lot of money. And I can imagine if you're an artist, you go like, well, 12 million records, well, that's like maybe 50, 60 million dollars. Why don't I get that all?
Well, because when you sign with big record companies, you sign deals that, well, they give you money up front, they give you advances, and most of the time these bands are broke. When the record label signs them, they're broke. So I don't think there's gonna be a band out that's gonna say, no, I don't want your advance. They're gonna say, yeah, okay, cool, we got money now, we got a budget now, and the contracts are set up to where it's like 85-15 split. The record company gets 85% of every record, you get 15% of every record. Okay? And that's where the record company makes their money and become huge, big time corporations, and you become a big time band, but there's no way that you're gonna be worth as much as that record company. So once you get to the point, like let's say where I'm at in my career, where I've sold over 12 million records with my band Cypress, and people know me, people know the name, they know what I look like. Why not just start your own record company, you know what I mean, and do it for yourself? And it's not as hard as somebody might think it is.
Hey, one thing that strikes me about you guys is everybody expects you to be bugged or stoned out all the time, but you're not.
Nah, I don't smoke weed like I used to either, man. I used to smoke a lot of weed, a lot of skunk, and it would just leave me like I didn't want to do shit, just sit there and just enjoy my high. So when I started writing my own songs for my own group or whatever, I started noticing that, I didn't need weed to write like I used to think so. And ever since then, I'll smoke a joint or two a day, but that's it, you know what I mean? No more bongs. I can't handle that shit. That shit fucks my throat up and it gets me way too high. So I just kick it, man. You know what I mean? I'll drink beer too, but not till it turns night. You know, and just try to stay focused as much as you can. Like I'll come to Europe on a tour, and I really won't smoke any weed until like the last day. You know what I mean? Because by the last day, okay, that's cool. I done all my work. I done all my interviews. You know, I stood focused. Now reward yourself, smoke a joint before you get on the airplane and go home.